In today's video, it is part 2 of my Elimination Chamber match tier list. Now, of course, I did part 1. It's been a while since, of course, I did part 1, which I believe was about, I think, last week or about a couple weeks ago or so. About a week or two ago, I believe it was. If you guys have not watched that video, definitely go check it out. Link to part 1 will be in the description below, so definitely go check it out. So, of course, this is part 2, and here in part 2, we will be going over the matches from 2017 to 2025, which is around 17 matches. The first part was kind of long. It had 19 matches, which was 2002 to 2015. Of course, there was no Elimination Chamber match in 2016 or show in 2016, so we're jumping straight to 2017. Now, of course, before we get into the video, again, link in the description below is, of course, part 1 to this tier list. Of course, with the tier list popped up, you'll see, of course, everything else. You see all the other matches from part 1, and, of course, you'll see the new matches as well in this part. Before we get on to the video, if you guys... excuse me, I don't know what happened to me. If you guys are new to the channel or haven't yet here on the BrewCrew channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the BrewCrew channel. I do wrestling content like this, and I do some football content as well for the Saints and LSU as well. So if you guys are fans of those sort of content, it's definitely a channel for you. Again, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. And let's go ahead and get right into, of course, 2017. Now, 2017, the show was, of course, a SmackDown-only show. Of course, this was around the brand split that WWE was in from 2016 and a little bit in 2017. Excuse me. And a little bit in 2017, so Elimination Chamber was just a SmackDown exclusive, and the only Elimination Chamber match a part of the show was the WWE Championship Chamber match, with John Cena defending his title against AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, The Miz, and Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin. I believe that's the 6 that was in there. And honestly enough, I just recently watched this Elimination Chamber show and this Elimination Chamber match. And just to go ahead and say, this honestly is another one of my favorite tier lists. And it's definitely up there with in my opinion, it is up there with S tier. It is up there with, of course, the 2014 Chamber match. If you guys remember from my part 1, the 2011 one, and of course, the original 2002 one. So definitely S tier. So definitely S tier as well. It's definitely still one of my favorite Elimination Chamber matches. The next Chamber match is, of course, in 2018. It is actually an historic Elimination Chamber, as this is the only men's Elimination Chamber, men's or women's. This was honestly a historic show, but this men's Elimination Chamber was the first and only Elimination Chamber that had 7 participants. Now, the 7 participants was Roman Reigns, The Miz, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Elias, Braun Strowman, and John Cena. Now, of course, kind of what made it 7 was because I believe it was in like some sort of triple threat match for Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, where they accidentally both pinned, I think it was Bray Wyatt, I believe I remember, and Kurt Angle, who was the general manager at the time on Monday Night Raw, decided to give both men a chance for the Elimination Chamber, and were both granted in the match. Now, even though, yes, this match was mostly dominated by Braun Strowman, who at the time did get the record for the most eliminations, I believe still has the record for the most eliminations in Elimination Chamber, he sadly would not pull off the win, and of course, this was around the sort of peak of everybody not liking Roman Reigns. Of course, there was a time that Roman was not liked. But honestly, overall, the match was actually not that bad, even though, yes, it was mostly dominated by Braun Strowman. But honestly, I believe it does have some good moments in it, and it doesn't really land in A tier, but it does sort of land for myself around the middle of B tier, really. So B tier is where I would have this match. Not bad, not horrible, but definitely an okay type match, even though, yes, the ending was not really a fan favorite. Now, we stay in 2018 for the next match, and of course, this was another historic match for this show in 2018, because it was the first ever women's Elimination Chamber match, which was for the Raw Women's Championship. It featured Alexa Bliss, who was champion at the time, defending against Mickie James, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and the 2 members of course, the trio with the Page of Absolution, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. And and Sonya Deville. Now, honestly, I don't really remember much from this first match. Of course, it came down to Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss would come out with the win, winning the first ever Women's Elimination Chamber. But honestly, it's not really a memorable match. I mean, of course, it is a historic one, but honestly, it's, to me personally, it doesn't really land much into B, but it does sort of go a little bit into a high C, really. So C tier is where I would probably land this first Women's Elimination Chamber match. Now we go to 2019, and 2019 has some more solid elimination chambers. Starting off with the Women's Elimination Chamber, which of course was an historic one, as it would be for the first ever Women's Tag Team Championships. It had the teams like the Boston Hood Connection of Bayley and Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, Tamina and Nia Jax. I believe Naomi and Carmella was a team in this, and I believe the Iconics of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Now, honestly, the match was actually a little bit better, probably mostly because it was a tag team chamber match. It was definitely better than the first ever one, and honestly, it doesn't get more in the middle of B. It does kind of, for me, get to like maybe a lower B, but a B tier, it goes in. But the B tier, it does go in my opinion. But still a pretty good match. Of course, Bayley and Sasha would win, becoming the first ever women's tag team champions in another historic Elimination Chamber match. Now, the main event of this show in 2019 was the Elimination Chamber match, which featured the WWE Championship on the line, as Daniel Bryan, who was, of course, the real WWE Champion, or I think that's how his persona was, his persona character was, defended against AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy, and was actually supposed to be Mustafa Ali, but sadly got injured by Randy Orton, and so that final spot went, oh, I just spit so much. That final spot went to Kofi Kingston. I'm so sorry about that. Went to Kofi Kingston after, after Mustafa Ali was injured, and of course, this match was actually a really good Elimination Chamber match. Good enough to really, not good enough really to be an S tier, but good enough to really be an A tier. It is a solid Elimination Chamber match. It's really fun. There's a lot of fun moments and spots and all that in this match. And of course, the ending was great between Daniel Bryan and Kofi, because of course, this would lead up to Kofi Mania. This ending portion would of course lead up to Kofi Mania and lead to Kofi potentially becoming the WWE Champion at WrestleMania, defeating Daniel Bryan. So of course, a lot of stuff that went down in this chamber match. So yeah. The next two chamber matches, we head to 2020, and this is kind of where we kind of go down a little bit. But honestly, it's mostly sort of a high, but a low. Now, of course, we have our third ever, and possibly it was actually, at this point, the last time we ever had a tag team elimination chamber match. It was for the SmackDown tag team titles, where the champions at the time was the reuniting and returning John Morrison and The Miz, defending against the New Day, the Usos, the team of the Dirty Dogs, which was Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, and I believe Heavy Machinery, and Lucha House Party, Lindsay Dorado, and Grand Metalik. So those were the 6 teams. And honestly, this was a fun, high-flying, I mean, of course, yes, with the Lucha House Party, this was a fun, high-flying sort of elimination chamber match. And this, of course, was way much better than the first ever one that, of course, involved the men. And honestly, this was better than the women. And shockingly enough, this might shock some people. This, honestly, in my opinion, is good enough to at least be an A tier. And this, of course, just, again, it's just my opinion. But honestly, out of the 2 chamber matches that happened on this show, back in 2020, this was the only best one out of the 2. Definitely go check it out. It's a fun tag team chamber match. Of course, Miz and Morrison would come out on top and retain their SmackDown tag team titles. Oof. The next one, though, kind of a rough one. And of course, it's the Women's Elimination Chamber match. And it has a sort of weird lineup. This Women's Elimination Chamber match was a #1 contenders match, with the winner going on to face Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. It featured Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and I believe Natalya. And honestly, a lineup like that, kind of a weak lineup, because you got to know at the time, Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, and even Ruby Riott, they were coming off the split of the Riott Squad, and they weren't really main event level sort of wrestlers. I mean, Natalya was sort of the only big veteran. Asuka was one half of the tag champs, so it would have been cool to see her and Becky run it back again. Really, the only one was, of course, Shayna Baszler. And this match, of course, yes, you guys will probably say, well, Braun Strowman was like this in 2018. The match overall was good, though. This match, even while looking at the highlights, was not that great of a match. And honestly, this might shock some people. I don't know if anybody else is like this. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me with this match. But this match is just not good enough to even be in D tier. It goes down to F tier. It's definitely not one of my favorite chamber matches. And when I look at that lineup, it's just eh. And again, this match was just dominated by Shayna Baszler. That's what I was trying to say before. Of course, she holds the record for the most eliminations in a chamber match when she literally eliminated everybody. 5 eliminations. She eliminated everybody to go on to face Becky Lynch. But also another thing, she didn't even win the championship from Becky Lynch. And of course, I know COVID and all that happened, but it's just kind of I don't know. I don't know what to kind of say with this match, especially with how the winner turned out, you know. But honestly, we kind of go up from here. Not really, in my honest opinion, would say S tier for these two, but 2021 did see some 2 pretty solid elimination chamber matches. First, the chamber match for the WWE Championship, where Drew McIntyre defended against Randy Orton, Sheamus, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, and Jeff Hardy, all former, of course, WWE champions in a big-time stacked elimination chamber. Now, of course, the chamber match, it came down to AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre, with Drew McIntyre intercepting the phenomenal forearm with an amazing Claymore kick. And honestly, this match does, I want to say, get close to an S tier, but it comes up to, in my opinion, a pretty, actually the highest A tier. It is definitely a little bit better than these other ones in A tier, and I'm going to put it into a little bit of a higher A tier. But definitely this match and even the next match were way much better, especially a step up after, of course, a not so great women's chamber match that, of course, from 2020. Speaking of the next match, of course, the next match was a #1 contendership for the Universal title, which, of course, not really going to WrestleMania, because, of course, the other kick was they would have to face Roman Reigns, who was champion at the time, after they won the chamber, which, of course, was just great for them. The participants was Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, who was the right-hand man at the time, King Corbin, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, and, I can't remember who the last person is now, who the last person was. I did say Kevin Owens. Oh, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was the last person. So, and then honestly, this match, I don't want to say it was weaker out of the two. It had some pretty good moments. It definitely was entertaining and fun to watch. Honestly, it does like the second one, but kind of not really an A tier. For me, it gets to around a high B tier. Kind of just in the middle, kind of like the second highest in B tier is where I would put this one. And now just, of course, when we go from a little bit of a high, we sadly go to a little bit of a low, really, for these next two in 2022. Now, for the first one, the women's chamber is honestly not a bad women's chamber. Of course, this featured Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Doudrop, who, of course, is Piper Niven, Nikki ASH, who is Nikki Cross, and I believe Alexa Bliss, and I think Asuka was a part of this chamber match as well, I can't remember who else. If you guys know, let me know in the comments down below. But honestly enough, I want to put this in B tier, but of course I can't really remember much from this match because this whole show altogether, I just didn't really watch. And just didn't really care about. But honestly, the match, of course, the winner came out to be Bianca Belair, so that's kind of what helped it. But I would put it low B, but honestly, I'm going to put it at a high C. It definitely is sort of a fall off a little bit, and of course, at this point, the women's chamber matches have not been too great, in my opinion. So, yeah. Next elimination chamber match in 2022 was, of course, the WWE Championship chamber match. Now, this one, of course, was, honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and say, this is F tier. It's F tier. Of course, this featured the champion at the time, Bobby Lashley, defending against Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, and Matt Riddle. Now, a lot happened in this match. Mostly, of course, the big thing was Bobby Lashley got injured. Bless you, Mom. Got injured, apparently, from Seth Rollins doing a powerbomb, I think think I saw a video or something about Real talking about the theory, like a buckle bomb to the cage, and it was Bobby Lashley's cage. And apparently when he went through it, it was apparently enough force to Bobby Lashley that he got a concussion, and he was supposed to be the next person out. And I don't know where I saw this with Matt Riddle. Apparently, Brock did not care that he had to wait another 5 minutes or so, because that's how long they have to wait in the pod. He full-on broke out of the pod, started eliminating everybody. He, of course, did the F5 off the top of the pod to Austin Theory and became the new WWE Champion. There was just so much that happened in this chamber match that even if I think Bobby Lashley was not injured, this match would have been better. But honestly, maybe it would have got up a little more if Bobby Lashley didn't get injured. But I don't know what I was trying to say there. But sadly, F tier for this match. This is definitely not a great Elimination Chamber match. Now, the next Elimination Chamber match of course, comes in 2023 with a chamber match that features, for the first time since 2015, a mid-card title. Austin Theory, at the time the U.S. Champion, defended his United States title against Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford of the Street Profits, and who else am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting someone else. I don't know why I always do this. I said Damian Priest. Crap. Who else was in this freaking match? I don't know. Let me know if you guys remember. I don't know why I'm forgetting who was in this match. I know Bronson Theory, Rollins, Johnny, Damian. I think I actually got everybody. I think I got everybody. Never mind. But with this match, this honestly was a much better match, and this was definitely a really good match. And honestly, I would put it at a high B tier, but it was just like, I don't know what it is about this match, but honestly enough, it goes a little bit into an A tier in my opinion. It was definitely way much better than the last mid-card title Elimination Chamber match that we had back in 2015, and definitely just with the names that were involved in this chamber match, definitely really good, you know. I mean, it showed off Montez Ford that could have been a singles run for Montez at some point, but of course here we are now, still nothing really with that. So yeah, next is the women's Elimination Chamber match, and now this was definitely one of the better Elimination Chamber matches. Now I can't remember who was fully in this match. I only see the 4 who was in this match, was Nikki Cross, Raquel, Asuka, and Liv. I'm pretty sure I know Asuka went on to win this match and go on to face, I think Alexa Bliss was in this match. I can't remember for sure who else was in it. But honestly, this was a much better women's chamber match than, of course, the year before. And honestly, a good enough match to kind of get around in the middle, in my opinion, the middle of B tier. Not A tier just yet for these women's chamber matches, but of course we'll get there here. We'll get there in a bit. We'll get there in a bit. Now we move on to next year for Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia. First, let's start off with the Women's Elimination Chamber match. The Women's Elimination Chamber match that featured Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Naomi, Raquel, I believe Liv Morgan. I want to say Bliss was in this one. I don't think she was. I think she was out. I can't remember who was in this one, but I know that's who was in it. Becky Lynch would actually be the one to go on the win and would go on to face Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Title at WrestleMania. This was definitely a great one. I honestly need to kind of rewatch it, in my opinion. I probably should have done that before I made this video, because of course this was in Perth. Freaking show was at like 5 o'clock, and I believe this show started off the show. I don't remember. I only kind of remember the ending, or I think I full-on slept through this match. So, but seeing the highlights of this match and knowing that this match was definitely better, this match does, in my opinion, get into A tier, in my opinion, maybe B tier, but I think it was definitely a solid Elimination Chamber match by the highlights I have seen. I'm just going off highlights that I've seen and all that. Said this before in my previous part, but A tier for this match. But this next match for the this men's chamber match was definitely one of my favorite men's chamber matches. Not yet really to a S tier in my opinion, but it does honestly get into probably second best in A tier. Now, of course, this chamber match featured Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and I believe Seth Rollins. No, I don't think so. No, Seth Rollins was the champion. What am I talking about? I can't remember who else. I'm sorry if I can't remember who all was in this chamber match. All was in these chamber matches, but yeah, the ending was of course great with the final three. Logan was looking for that knockout punch. I believe he had the brass knuckles. He was in the middle of doing his thing, gets RKO'd by Randy Orton. But of course, Drew McIntyre came out with the win. But this was definitely, I enjoyed this Elimination Chamber. Oh, I think it was Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, I think is who it was. That was in this chamber match. But honestly, this was a really good chamber match. Not yet in S tier, but it definitely has been one of my favorite chamber matches. So yeah. Now to finally end this off, I know we're kind of been pretty long with this. Is of course Elimination Chamber in Toronto. And of course, let's start off with the Women's Elimination Chamber that featured Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Bayley and Roxanne Perez. Of course, as we know, in this chamber match, of course, Jade Cargill attacking Naomi, costing Naomi. Liv Morgan again, sadly, falling short in this Elimination Chamber with Bianca Belair winning and going on to WrestleMania. Honestly, this was another solid women's chamber match, but sadly this is not the women's chamber match that gets to S tier. This is a high A tier, and I really don't want people coming after me in the comments being like, well, why am I not putting a women's chamber match, especially this one or the last one, in S tier if you guys like the match. It's just what I'm going off of, okay? Maybe if Naomi was not attacked and injured, probably the match maybe would have been a little bit better, but it's still a good chamber match and it gets to A tier. At least a high A tier of sorts. That's where I'm putting it in A tier. Now, of course, the next match, you guys, like what I just said before, probably won't be happy because of where I put the women's chamber match, or what I've been doing with the women's chamber matches, is of course the men's chamber match that featured John Cena, CM Punk, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. And I honestly now can't remember. This was literally last year. Why can I not remember? Did I say Drew McIntyre? I did say Drew McIntyre. What am I talking? Crap. Who else was in this chamber? I said John Cena, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, CM Punk. Oh, sweet Jesus. Who else was in this gosh dang chamber match, bro? I actually gotta see. I honestly, Seth Rollins. Why did I forget Seth Rollins was in this chamber match? I'm so sorry about that. I don't know why I forgot Seth Rollins was in this chamber match, bro. So yeah, so Seth Rollins in it. The video is gonna be longer because I did that. But of course, the ending was great. Seth Rollins hitting the stomp on Punk, who was outside. John Cena taking advantage of it, not with an AA, but with the STF. And then, of course, we all know what happened after the match, not including that. But honestly, this match was another great favorite match of mine, and honestly this was much better than the men's chamber match in the A tier, and this honestly does, in my opinion, land in S tier, with a total of 5 S tier matches. Definitely was an S tier match. There was other great moments in this match besides towards the ending. Other great moments in this match. So yes, S tier is where I would put this match. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now of course this will probably be a long video, probably one of my longest videos I've done in a while, so I don't know how long I'm going to be editing this video and all that, so hopefully I can get it done, and hopefully I can get it done and all that. I probably will. So hopefully I do. So I probably will, and so hopefully I do. So yeah, let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments down below and all that. Of course, link in the description will be, of course, a link to this tier list if you guys want to go do it yourselves, if you guys didn't do it last time. And speaking of last video, link to that video will be down in the description below if you guys want to go check that out and see where I ranked. I mean, of course, you kind of will see, but if you guys want to go check out my thoughts on why I put them there, definitely go check out go check out the part 1 video and all that. So yeah, definitely go do that. I think that's everything. else. So you guys made it all the way to this point in this pretty long video of mine. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, you guys know, as always, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. holy crap, excuse me, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the BrewCrew channel. And with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful day. Ignore what I just said. Hope you have an amazing, wonderful day. And thank you guys so much for watching again. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.